Hello viewers, Super GT here, welcome back to another video. Okay, so in this one, of course Gran Turismo Sport, I'm going to practice getting a penalty here at Fuji. This is the first FIA race since they've added the new penalty zones system. And you can see it getting a penalty, as per usual. And coming out the final turn, you have these yellow markers and the game slows you down. So that's not me slowing myself down, the game does it. So you kind of have to serve your penalties at a compulsory place and you have no choice over it. So here I am in the lobby. Nice looking lobby. There's 20 players, Group 2 at Fuji. But no, the game wasn't having any of it. We had to abort. The game just didn't want me to make that video. So we have to move on to the manufacturer's race instead. Here at Dragon Trail Gardens, one of my favourite circuits. And driving, of course, the Porsche 911. Now, I just wanted to highlight a glaring error that I made in qualifying. Coming out of the pit lane, my car ghosted. I was trying to look for traffic as it's a kind of an awkward entry here to the first corner, and I blocked this guy off completely. My car come out of the ghost when I was looking behind, looking at where the traffic was, and I didn't realise that my car come out of the ghost. I completely blocked that guy's line. So if you're watching, sorry for that. Eventually crossing the line to set our lap time. 8th at the time of completing it, but then 10th once everyone had set their times. The guy that I held off, he was actually 13th, but he probably would have gained at least half a second maybe. That does cut off quite a lot of time if you have to go right around the outside of someone at turn 1. Not ideal. Anyway, we must progress. Starting in 10th, so pretty much dead centre of the grid. We're going to settle in this race hopefully as soon as we can. 11 laps here, Dragon Trail Gardens, multiple variations of strategies available here because the pit lane is so short. It's actually surprisingly short. As soon as you go into the pit lane, you're already pretty much arriving at your pit box. And then of course, once you finish your refueling and your change of tyres, you're already at the other end of the pit stop. It kind of teleports you. So the pit lane is incredibly short here, which opens up the possibility of a 2-stop. I've personally gone for hard tyres in the first stint to do 6 laps, and then we'll see what to go on to based on how my tyres are in the pit stop. Up the inside, the space kind of opened there, kind of got a bit awkward, kind of got pinched narrow. Did leave me space though, we left each other space. And on the exit, not the best traction you've ever seen, but I do just about get enough to clamber ahead into 9th through the S's. And over the crest, down towards the long right. Actually make a mistake on the exit, just getting on the throttle a little bit too much. Blazer's going to retake the position with Bellin challenging as we hit the second apex. I'm going to reclaim the 10th position by the third apex. You see just how close it is there, as we're going to see plenty of replay angles during the course of this race into the final corner of the circuit, keeping that 10th position on this early lap. Just want to settle into the race, have a nice tidy lap, and make sure you don't get any damage or mess up your tyres or mess up the race completely by bottling it. Now my main worry around the circuit was the chicane that is coming up in just a moment, because it's really dodgy on the curb, and I think it's really hard on the controller to really get this just right. First chicane, first apex is fine. This one you can cut it. It's just those little red bollards you can see on the centre of the corner. If you take the full curb and obviously run over the red curb, the red curb is kind of in the middle of your car, then you save time. It's faster, but it is riskier. You risk losing control of the car. Blazer's gone defensive here into the chicane, into the hairpin. So he's kind of learned his lesson from the last time. Don't give me an opening, otherwise I'll go for it. And he's going to keep his 9th. And again, just scanning this angle here, you can see just how close the race is up ahead. This is the beauty of these FIA races, I think. Just how close the races are. The field spread isn't very big at all, although I would say that the leader is pulling away massively. I think he's gone onto the medium tyre. So he's going to stretch his advantage early on and perhaps suffer a little bit later on in the stint. We'll see how that one develops. As again, coming down the back straight towards the final hairpin, and braking just on the 100 board, pretty much on the edge of that curve. There's a long curve on the right hand side. Pretty much brake on the start of it, and you've got yourself a good braking point. So the group up ahead is bunching up, leaves us potential for some overtaking. So still in ninth, that's 2 laps done, still in the position that I started. And again, just see how close the pack is. You make one mistake, you're going to lose a couple of positions here. That's how close it is. And it is good to be challenged in that way. And there's an awkward concertina effect. The Porsche, I think, into the back of someone else, and I'm into the back of him as I committed to my normal braking point and couldn't really swerve out of the way in time. And thankfully, kind of keeping the position I was in didn't really work out too badly, just losing a lot of time, and the field has spread out a little bit as a result. You see the group ahead of about 4 cars, a little bit more open than it was about half a lap ago. I'm being assaulted on either side now by Bellin, and the other driver behind couldn't quite gather who that was. As now Bellin going to sweep ahead in the Viper. Let's see how he performs now. Going to try and tuck in behind, and again, just how close it is behind. If you make one mistake for a corner and lose 2 temps, you're on the back foot immediately, which is exactly what's happened here. I've lost 2 temps to Bellin, and then already the guy behind is on the attack. That's the beauty though. I love that. I love how challenging it is, even if I'm finishing in the mid-pack. As long as I'm performing well, or racing to my best level and having a good race with other people, then I'm absolutely enjoying it. Then it's fine, and ideally not bottoming it as we approach the end of the race, or at any point in the race. Okay, so I've definitely dropped off the guys ahead. I lost a position on that lap, but then gained one. There was a BMW off. I don't know if you spotted it on the exit of the long left, so the long quadruple right-hander. So I lost one, but I gained one back. So still in 10th. I'm still where I started. The race is kind of, I'm sensing, beginning to fall away from me, as I am losing touch with the guys ahead and being attacked from behind. Although, having said that, Blazer with a mistake out of the dodgy chicane. I'm going to gain a position. Now under attack from the Mercedes. This is the guy that I actually completely got in the way of during qualifying, and he's not going to be happy with that at all. I think he's definitely got the pace. He started 13th, now he's up into 9th. Let's see how his race progresses from here on towards the end. So we're going to tuck him behind him. There's no point going for the move and losing further time. So of course the more you fight, the more time you lose, and yes, you might gain a position, but you're losing time to everyone else on the track. So you do have to really pick and choose your fights carefully in motorsport. In any racing, you're trying to get to the finish line as fast as possible. So just constant fighting with someone over and over and over again is only costing the pair of you, and often it's not always the best thing to do. So there's no point really at this point trying to re-challenge and take that position back. Just settle in behind, get into that slipstream, and spin myself wide almost, just about regather our grip in time to carry on going. So in 9th, you see there's someone just rejoining the circuit. So still in 9th, we've gained a position there from someone in the pits. This opens up some talk about the strategy. As I say, it kind of opens up because of the pit lane length, because it's so short. You can really do that second stop. You can really go for 2 stops and not lose so much time compared to other circuits. So you do have to take that into consideration. It's a big factor. How long is the pit lane? How much time do you lose? And around here, I think it's one of the shortest pit lanes. You lose barely anything. I think might actually be the shortest pit lane in terms of time loss, or at least one of the shortest. And so, okay, side by side with the Hyundai driver here, and it's kind of an awkward situation there. We're both losing time going side by side. We lose crucial time. You can see just how much I've dropped off the battle ahead. As now I could go in here side by side. I'm going to back out, and we're going to settle in behind by actually almost driving off the track. Sometimes this is something I think about a lot. Weirdly, I don't lose sleep over it, but sometimes it's better, I think, if you're going into a corner side by side, it's better for one of you to settle in behind, to give up and settle in behind. If you both go through the corner side by side, you're both losing time. Sometimes it's better, okay, you go ahead and we both take the corner properly as a racing line, on the racing line, and we'll both take the normal line and not lose any time. So overall, that might sometimes be the better thing to do. Just sometimes, just trying to think of little intricacies in these races. So I think in races this close, where the margins are this fine. Little things like that you do, make all the difference. And I've not really had a good couple of laps here, as made little snippets of bad decisions, and almost grazing that red sausage of doom. Now I've actually adapted my line there, because in practice I wasn't taking the inside line through that chicane, like where you cut, not you cut it, but you really take the full curb. So later in this race I kind of adapted to just taking the full curb. I think it's less safe, it's riskier, especially with me, because I often spin out as a result or make some sort of mistake. But I thought if I'm going to stand any chance of a decent result here, I just need to take the risk. There's no point in just never taking any risk and just going backwards and just losing. Might as well just take the risk. It's only an online race, I suppose. It's not like my life is on the line. It might be, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, through the quadruple right, you can see again there's a queue of cars. We're being swarmed here. I'm in the middle of a triple entente as we come in to the final hairpin. I'm kind of penned in here. Car on the left, car in front, car behind. Not really anywhere to move. I'm like a blocked-in chess piece, and I'm trying to go into the pit lane, and there's awkwardly that BMW's on my left-hand side. I have to lift off the gas, and you see that immediately into the pit box. So as soon as I enter, I'm in the pit box already, and then on the way out, immediately on the way out. So the time loss isn't very big here. And we come out in 15th. I've gone for the medium tyre, so I feel as though this is something I've noticed. It's really weird with the hard tyre. The tyre wear is better. They last longer, but I think sometimes with a softer compound, you can still actually lap just as fast after still like 5 laps, say. Even though your tyre life has technically gone down, as long as you drive smoothly, you can still get the lap time. It's just a little bit trickier to do because you're going to lose grip a lot easier. As long as you can drive around that, and I think you can still achieve high lap times, good lap times on worn, softer tyres, if that makes sense. If it doesn't, please comment, and maybe I'll explain it. This is something I noticed with Key25, another YouTuber, drives often on the softer compound, and yet he still makes it work. When I'm sometimes on a harder compound, and his tyres are still he's driving better than me, even though his tyres are much more worn out. It's kind of a weird idea, that. But here we are, you saw the train there, 15th position we were in, and pretty much from here to about 6th place is in this long train coming around here. So there's definitely potential for some positions to be gained, as 2 people I saw peeling off to the left hand side. I go from 15th to 30th. If there's anyone coming out of the pit lane, not right there. I think there might have been just one guy there though. Okay, so 4 laps left to go, up the inside of the Spaniard. We're going to go up into 12th. Okay, that's a good couple of corners. This is where I really need to take advantage of my car. I've got the medium compound. People may well be on the hard as I go flying up the sausage. The sausage of doom not playing kindly with me today as I clip it. I mean, that's the risk. That's exactly what I was talking about a moment ago. If you take that a little bit too much, get it a little bit wrong, get the line a little bit wrong, the curb can send you into oblivion and your imminent death. Thankfully I just about save it this time to continue to fight for another day. And you can see the group up ahead. There's potential still here for some positions. I started 10th, I'm in 12th, 10th is just ahead of us, as we have about 3.5 laps left to go. Let's definitely salvage something good here. I think it's about 1,000, more than 1,000 points, FIA points for 10th, which wouldn't be too bad, I suppose. It's normally about par for the course for me. Blazer going narrow. I'm going to keep him to the left hand side as long as possible, and then sweep back to the original position on the right hand side. And as a result, he goes in too deep on the brakes, and I can overtake him on the way out. So good progress on that lap. We gained 2 from people in the pits, and 2 from just genuine overtakes on the circuit. That's not too bad a lap. 15th to 11th. If we can carry on at that rate, we'll be first within a couple of laps. But I'm not expecting that to happen. Now let's see if we can go about getting past the Hyundai up ahead. We've been battling with this guy throughout the race. It looks like we're fairly evenly matched throughout so far. A little bit wide. That's the line I was taking. just avoiding it. Maybe I needed to take more curb there and take even more risk. Take that line. I suppose I need to practice that more. As Blazer, you might have spotted behind, making a crucial error. That drops off some attention, some of the wanted, the 5-star wanted level from behind. So I don't have to worry quite so much about the threat from behind. I can solely focus on trying to pass this Hyundai. As the pack ahead, I'm always scanning ahead, trying to analyse the race as you're going along. Yes, I am behind. As actually, the BMW behind is actually quite quickly gaining now. I think he may have been someone who just came out of the pit lane, so he has fresher tyres than I do. So analysing the race as we go along, the spaces are opening up ahead. I can see that 8th, 7th and 6th are very close. That's something to keep an eye on. They might be battling, and they could, if they fight too much, put themselves into our path. The BMW behind pulls out, goes for the move, not a great move up the inside, into the side of the Hyundai, self-penalised there as he spun out. I'm going to keep 11th, and again the 5-star wanted level has been alleviated, just down to 2 stars now, as there's no one quite right behind us. Up the inside into turn 1, I go a little bit deep, overshoot. On the way out he comes back, doesn't really give us space, runs us wide. I'm into the wall, doing a wheelie for a split second, and he's actually got himself a penalty. Now I'm expecting him to have it served here. There is the penalty zone, he's not served it. I guess it must do it on the final lap then. He's only got one more lap left to do. So that 2-second penalty that he's got is going to be served on the next lap. Although I'm more than 2 seconds behind now. I've actually lost out more. So that penalty is maybe not strict enough, but I'm not going to worry too much. We're still just going to fight for whatever we can get, which I would say is maybe still 10th if that penalty does affect him by more than 2 seconds. We don't know how much it really is going to be. You saw at the start of the video I served that penalty, it was about 3.5 seconds at Fuji. And I think I would have lost more because it's such an awkward position at the start of the straight. You're going to lose speed all the way down the straight as well. As the BMW just fires himself wide. Having an awkward race is that BMW. Looked fast at times, but also quite erratic. So I'm going to gain a position from him, back into 12th. Can we possibly get 11th back? There is a battle ahead for 9th, so the Hyundai driver getting ahead of the Renault. So with 1 lap left to go, the tyres now beginning to wear out, but you might be able to spot on the right hand side of the screen once we go back to the original chase cam. And my lap times are fairly comparable between the 2 stints. So the hard tyre in the first stint, so from lap 1 to 6, or lap 1 to 5, and 6 in the pit lane. And then, of course, the second stint here on the medium tyres, the lap times are fairly comparable. So there's that yellow marker on that guy up ahead, which means he's going to serve his penalty. You kind of have to take note of that. He's not going to ghost out. It is advised, so Polyphony do advise that you stick, or you don't stick to the racing line. You get off the racing line if you're going to serve your penalty, so you don't block people off. And the Hyundai actually losing out there to the Renault. So the Renault's back into 9th. I'm just kind of scanning here. Is there potential to gain a position back as you come through the S's? Going to get really hard through here. Going to have to turn in earlier and earlier, brake earlier and earlier as your tyres wear out. You see my front right tyre is really beginning to die. Thankfully this long right relies more on the left hand tyre, although that is fairly shredded in itself. But being a clockwise circuit, your right hand tyres are going to, sorry, an anti-clockwise circuit, the right hand side is going to wear out a lot more overall, despite having that long quadruple right hander. Into the final corner, go a little bit too deep. The Renault actually loses out, makes a mistake, and the Hyundai is back through into 9th. So I'm analysing their races more than mine, and ultimately going to come across the line to finish in 12th. There it is. So let me know your thoughts on the race, on the new penalty system as well. I can see some potential in it, so at least people can't carry it to the line. They have to serve it really during the race. There could be some awkward situations depending on where the penalty zones are, especially here because it is quite soon after that chicane. So if you're right behind someone, you do really need to make sure you're not right behind them, like move over to the side so that they don't brake right in your face. But there we go, 12th position. I do hope you enjoyed the video as always. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you very much for watching as always. I shall see you next time. Goodbye.